Hello?
What's up, girl? What happened after Tony dumped you?
Girl, I'm over it. I went from heartbreak to hate.
Hey, Bob.
Geo Witch Joy.
Yes, you're practicing your Irish.
I am practicing my Irish. I'm trying to learn Irish for Irish purposes.
Okay. So if we have any Irish listeners, please.
We do. We have some people that listen to us out there.
Find us on Instagram or Facebook
In the land of
tell
Ire.
him how much he slaughtered your language
Yes.
by saying hello.
Yes, please do. I'm first
gentle,
and foremost
though. He's trying.
an American. Americans typically struggle with the ability to do anything that existed before. Let's not even say the 13 colonies. Let's call it the 50 states. We can't do anything that existed before 1960 something.
There you go. Yeah,
We
that's
can't
ancient
handle it.
for us.
That's
no,
ancient
that's
history.
Too much.
Yeah, we don't understand old bricks and people with swords and
No.
people. They had swords in England. They had swords in Japan. Basically the same town, same cities, places, right? No.
I mean, yeah, they're right next door to each other. I think.
Absolutely.
That's
yeah.
what I checked. Yeah. Uh-huh.
No. I brought up something I'll talk about some other time, but someone thinking that Japan was inside China the other day, and I was just like,
No, girl.
literally, girl, no. And I think it was like in Japan, China.
No, girl. Mm-mm.
But you know what? That's a hard decision.
That is.
To learn history.
Ugh.
Or pay attention to history, because we're forced to learn history.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the white version of it here in America, we don't do anything that's contradictory to our Christian beliefs. So
No, we gloss over it. We have like the 2-day,
right. Slavery lasted 15 minutes.
There's a trail of tears in slavery. Yeah, moving on.
yeah.
Okay.
Pilgrims came. JFK was shot. That's basically American history. That's
No, don't forget the Depression.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, you have to have the Depression because you know
Have the
why?
Depression.
It affected white people.
That's right. People were jumping to their
White people
deaths.
weren't affected. No. Oh wait, and then women had to work because of World War II.
Yes.
I forgot that big point. Rosie the Riveter. Not saying Rosie the Riveter as a female woman, not important. She is important to history, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hard decisions.
Hard decisions. This week here in the United States, we had what's called midterm elections, not
fancy presidential.
Not fancy presidential. That's in 2 more years.
So usually it's a lower turnout, but this year.
But yet this year we had record turnouts, which is good because typically as Americans we only care about the most important thing possible.
Right.
Since we only vote for the president here, and then we don't even fill out the rest of the voter ballot.
No,
A
you
lot
can
of
just
people
vote
don't.
straight ticket.
That's true. Some people do that too. I do that sometimes, but I also, I don't know if we talked about this before. My grandmother told me this thing years ago. We were a very democratic family, but she always said, if you don't know anything about the person on the ballot, vote for the female or vote for a name that you can't pronounce.
Oh, okay.
And that's better.
Yeah, I kind of like that strategy. I mean,
Because if you
don't
had
have
like
anything
multiple
going in-
Democrats,
Yeah.
you don't want the white male Democrat, right? You want a female or
Right.
a person of color. So, yeah. So it's kind of simple, but I've lived by that because I have to admit I don't really get into school board shit and
Yeah,
all
that
that
stuff
stuff.
is really-
Because I don't like kids and I don't have them.
And that's the thing, right? Because it's like, you try to be informed on things that apply to you. But yeah, like you said, there's school board things. Neither one of us has kids, And
Right.
I the children are our future and everything, but that doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and study the
But didn't that
candidates.
future die when Whitney Houston died?
Well, it's hobbling along, and it uses its walker and oxygen at all times. But we have hope.
Hope. I like Hope. She's my favorite hooker in the trailer park.
Yeah. I don't know if this is related to hard decisions, but did you hear that Ruth Bader Ginsburg broke some ribs.
Yes.
And all of Black Twitter broke out in prayer for her. Offered to send her to Wakanda.
What?
Yeah, it's a true thing. I mean, as a joke, obviously.
Okay.
Yes, we realize Wakanda is not a real place. But nonetheless, people were like, we got to get her to Wakanda, get her some vibranium ribs.
Shit.
There were all kinds of memes of people like, this guy's like leaned over and like running to go give her his ribs,
The meme I liked the most that I saw was I have more ribs, bitches. Or I have more than 3 ribs, bitches.
Right.
Because I think she was like back to work the next day.
I'm sure she is tough.
I mean,
She is tough as hell.
she's something special, and it's something, we have to definitely, I'm not going to say the P word for her, but we definitely want her to stay around as long as possible in the climate and the way that the Supreme Court is currently placed.
Yes.
We need her.
Yeah. So it's the winter months, and if anybody sees Ruth Bader Ginsburg out in public, just watch out for her. Make sure she doesn't slip in ice or something like that.
I
Keep
mean,
an eye out.
hand her one of those vitamin C bump drinks that you can mix it.
Yeah. Do your part.
Give her some
okay?
airborne. Just make sure. I mean, she's getting up there, but there's older, more decrepit people
There are.
in the United States government.
Yeah. I have faith. She's going to go the distance.
Oh, yeah.
But we're digressing.
We're
So the
digressing, but it's
reason
fine.
that we were calling this hard decision, we started talking about voting
Right.
and, how we were somewhat surprised that so many people came out because, in the past, people aren't good at making hard decisions.
Mm-mm.
They aren't, good with, well, I don't like this person, and I don't like that person, so I'm just not going to make a choice. I'm not going to vote at all. As opposed to,
Let me make that situation worse. I don't like this one thing that person
yes.
has said in their lifetime.
or what this meme on Facebook alluded to this person does.
Right.
And now I'm fully opposed, so I'm just not going to participate. And then next thing you know, we have the yellow one, the orange one.
DT.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, like I was saying, the amount of people in my Facebook friend pool, because all the blocks have gone away
Okay.
because, they only do the 30-day blocks.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
they time out.
So they time out. So it was just in time for them to come back for their rants for the voting season.
I bet that was intriguing.
Well, it's those people that refuse to vote for Hillary Clinton because of corrupt this, she didn't do that, blah 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 blah. I won't obviously vote for Trump because I'm a more superior human being, but I'm also not going to vote for Hillary Clinton because not even not vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm not even voting at all because I didn't get Bernie Sanders.
Right.
You can drum up everything that Hillary Clinton's ever done. She wears pantsuits, whatever. I met Hillary Clinton years ago when she was like, I always say when she was the vice president, but when she was the first lady, and heard her speak, and I was very, enthralled by her, and just like, she was, and this was the 90s, kids, so this was before she had any of those other jobs. She was still the first lady, and it was just the way she sounded, and everyone gives, Michelle Obama praise for her being very active as a first lady, and that most first ladies really were just first ladies. They had a cause, very superficial, like drugs.
I knew that was coming.
Or whatever, and then just, but Hillary Clinton definitely was a political person who has a smart, intelligent, I'm not going to bump up Hillary Clinton. Anyway, all these people refused to vote because of Hillary over Bernie. And then something happened. That
the end of the world.
The end of the world. And then they can't even let that go. It's Hillary Clinton's fault.
Don't even start me.
Because it's her fault for not speaking to this type of person. It's her fault for not doing this type of thing. And
It's like, no, it's your fault because you can't make a hard decision.
right.
Remember back in the day, there's something in our world collective that what's going on now where people just want things to be exactly the way they want it and the way they like it, and it has to come in that package, or they want to stick their head in the sand. And it's like, when we were growing up, there were so many things. You get A or B. Oh, both of those are shitty. Well, let me figure out what's the less shitty option. You know what I mean? Like, it's a hard decision. You still got to make it.
I mean, like, I voted for Clinton the second term because I couldn't vote the first time because I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
He had anti-gay. I mean, there was anti-gay laws up, and he supported some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Would I have voted for a Republican? No, because I know it would have been fucking worse off as a gay person.
Right.
So it's the hard, like you said, the hard decision. I don't know.
And flip it the opposite way. There are people who vote for someone who is collectively just a walking pile of trash because there's one ideological view that they both share, and they're like, oh, this is the thing. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Everything else you do is hot garbage, but we agree on this, and so that's the way I have to lead my life. And usually that ideological view is something that affects other people. Like, so who says you get to be the boss of other people anyway?
Yeah. Who says you? Yeah, it's the whole thing. Like, if you don't want a gay marriage, don't have a gay marriage.
If you don't want an abortion, don't get one.
Don't get one. But you shouldn't be able to tell somebody else that they can't. And you know that I am pro-abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, above what that term even means.
Right.
So, more abortions, please. So, I don't know. I think that we have to just, like, at some point say, I understand laws a little bit. I'm not a legal person. I'm not I'm not extremely political. I've always kind of kept up with things, but I don't like, read laws and know all that shit. But I think at some point we have to say, if something for the betterment of our United States,
mm-hmm.
definitely the ones that are horrible put in place against people, but like the abortion rights have been around 50 years now. That's for the betterment of the United States,
mm-hmm.
as a population control, all kinds of aspects of it all. Nobody wants to take care of that baby once it's born.
No.
They don't care if it dies after it's born. They just want it to be born.
And we know that when their abortions weren't legal, women were dying because
Right.
they still wanted abortions. They were still trying to figure out how to make it happen.
Because they had to make a hard
and they were making hard decisions.
Yes.
And doing unsafe things. So it's like, you don't have to like it, but at least make it so people won't die.
Right. It's safer now. It's 1 day, less than a day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, maybe we should just say as a country, okay, that's been that way for a while. Everyone's better off this way. We just won't even discuss it any further.
Right. Closed book.
Close the book.
Done.
So, like, I mean, I don't know. Are we still open to going back to being part of the British Empire? Is that still open?
I mean, if everything else is in the air, let's consider it.
Because if it is, I mean, I'm down for an accent,
Okay. I'm here for a queen.
Right? Even if a queen, all she does is walk her corgis, I'm still down for it. But that's a hard decision, people.
That is.
But yeah, no. So I just love the fact that all these people are like, get out and vote. You have to vote. Da 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 da. And it's like, you are literally the person who said I did not vote because I didn't get my way.
Yeah.
But get out there and vote, because now that I don't have my way, and I'm losing my other ways because of the way I didn't vote.
I realized why I had to make a hard decision in the first
But
place.
I still would never vote for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. I honestly think in 2 more years it's going to be real interesting to see what happens. Because I want to believe that we can keep the momentum and that people will still be riled up. Well, we'll see.
I don't think it's going to go the way we like it.
Yeah. Let's not. Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should make the hard decision just to nuke ourselves. I mean, that's an option, right?
That is an option.
Just set the warheads off.
I'm sure there are people in the world who are wishing it. So.
Other countries?
Other countries.
If you are other countries and you'd like to give us asylum in your country, give us a call. speaking of other countries, what about all this wall stuff again?
Wall.
The border wall.
Oh, God. Okay. Yeah. Ugh. I don't even know. Like, I can't even.
Let me ask you a personal question,
Go
Joy.
ahead and ask me a personal question.
Do you care if an immigrant lives next door to you?
No.
Okay.
You know
Why?
why? Because their house is going to be the nicest fucking house, for one. They're going to be the hardest workers. They aren't going to be making noise and shit because they're working 7 jobs. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I want an immigrant living next door to me.
Well, that's the thing is they want the American dream, the dream that we don't actually work for as Americans. We want I'm not slamming me or you, but we want the 40-hour work week
Yeah.
where we do the least
Amen.
for the most money.
That's the American way.
That's the American way. But the American dream is coming
Different.
here,
Yeah.
working your ass off to give give your children and your future generations something better.
Absolutely.
So I lived in a very immigrant heavy area of Chicago, and I loved it. Loved every second of it. You know why? Nobody gave a shit about you.
No.
They don't care about your problem. They don't care about nothing going on. When you have too many Americans and too many white people, if there's too many white, and I think this is the same for black neighborhoods, too many of one race in one area, they have nothing else going on, done with Wheel of Fortune, they got to get into your business.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
They don't even have to know you. They have to
This
get
is a
into your business.
well-known rule that you need some kind of a mix, and it's kind of like a delicate balance to figure out the right mix. You know what I mean? Because you don't want too much of one. Oh yeah, absolutely. It definitely works for black neighborhoods as well as white.
Oh yeah, I mean that's good for like neighborhood watch. But like when I had a neighbor and she would tell me, "Oh, I saw you went shopping at such and such store." Like, why do you need to know
Right.
where I bought a suit from?
Or as
Burlington
happened the
Coat
other
Factory.
day, a neighbor was like, "It didn't look like you put any soap in the laundry, so I just decided to rerun it for you. But don't worry, you don't owe me the money for it." It's like, nobody asked you to do that. Mind your own business. Why were you in the washer?
Furthermore, that sounds like you owe them money to me. When someone says you don't owe me,
Oh, it's like,
especially
like,
if they're not friends with you.
yeah,
friends
it's like,
side.
"Oh, I did you a favor." It's like, no, you didn't. Nobody asked you to rerun it, so I wouldn't owe you $2 anyway.
See, that's been my life motto: is I don't want people hanging shit over my goddamn head.
I hear you, but you see what I'm saying? Like, nobody asked her to put money in there, so of course I don't owe her.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you come from a different place.
I do. I come from a place of minding my own goddamn business.
Well, I'm white, so I have to call the cops on every black person I see. That's the rules. That's the hard choices I make. You made me uncomfortable because you were in my neighborhood. Which, just for the people out there, I live in I live in a town, a university town, so
Right.
there's no real white neighborhood in downtown Champaign. It's a very culturally mixed area.
Yeah.
So, I do not call the cops on black people typically.
No, you were being sarcastic.
Right.
I could see you calling the cops on somebody white.
I like to call cops on people who are white. I actually called the cops on my Latina neighbor when I lived in Chicago because I had lived in the house for a week and I never met her and she didn't live there, or she wasn't there. And then when I heard someone break into a window,
Oh, okay.
and she was climbing into, and all I saw was legs going into the window, and so I called the cops. I had the whole like, "Are you this white person?" And this was 10 years ago, so I was already very conscious of being that white person. Like I didn't even need these memes that exist today. So I was like, am I going to be this white person that calls the cops? Is this my life? And then 14 years later, after the decision was made, I called the cops, and they showed up, and I just like watched as a white person would out the window, that tiniest little crack through your see-through curtains, and they can see your shadow anyway.
Oh yeah.
Because that's the way you gotta be. And then went downstairs and introduced myself to her. Because the cops showed up and they walked away. So I assumed it, and she was just like, "It's okay." Like,
I think that's amazing that she was like,
I mean, and then the next time when her and her lesbian lover had a knife fight, literal knife fight, on Labor Day weekend, I didn't call the cops on her.
There you go. I was like, sounds like they'll figure this out.
And this was like 4th of July to Labor Day, you know.
Wow.
Well, the knife, we even saw the knife in the yard. We listened to her scream, don't come at me with that knife and all that. Like, I mean, that's probably the time when I should have been calling the cops. But sometimes you just want to sit in the stairwell and listen to your neighbors fight, knowing that in case someone does get stabbed, you will call the cops quickly.
Okay. So you're there like with the finger hovering above the 1.
You're just waiting.
I dialed the 9 and the 1.
I dialed the...
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess if we can expand this idea a little bit, the harder decisions, it's not just voting. It's really everything. I think that it gets even to like little tiny things, which shouldn't be a hard decision, but like we were out today at lunch, right? And because we eat. There are a bunch of tables around us, people behind me. So I get up and I move to the end. And just like seeing how other people had interacted where people are not aware of their space. People are standing in the way. They know they're in the way. Couldn't care less. They'll look you in the face like, what, and this is what it is. I just moved to the end to put my jacket on so I didn't smack anybody. Just awareness and like going a little bit out of your way.
Right. Making your life a little bit harder.
So
it's easier on
better for
your
the
neighbor.
Collective.
Yeah.
Like not one of us lives in a fucking silo. Nobody lives on this planet by themselves. Why is it so fucking hard for people to realize?
Because nobody is aware of their surroundings. I don't feel that that's an American thing. I think that's across the world. But I feel that people, I've probably bitched about this in this podcast before because I've bitched about it in my entire life. Like walking through a store and stopping for no reason, not because you're stopping to grab something, stopping because you want to check your phone,
Remember when you used to have enough awareness of your surroundings to know when people were behind you?
Oh yeah, like
that. You couldn't see that
weird sense that someone's behind you.
Yeah,
like I have it. I still have it. So I don't understand if it's genetically over time we've just removed it from people's bodies, or maybe people who aren't from, a French background don't have that. Since we both have French genetics, maybe it is.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe only people who are from France or who are French are very aware of their surroundings. I think that might be because they don't like other people.
Yeah. See? So I don't want you to invade my space at all, so I'm going to be aware.
Well, that's the way I am.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to be in my space, so I'm not going to be in your space.
Amen.
I'm not going to block your way. I'll hold the door for you because I would want you to hold the door for me if I was carrying something. I drive the smallest car I could find because I don't need to take up much more space than my fat ass in a car. All I need is music. I don't need anything else. I just need music and 4 wheels because you can't have a motorcycle in the wintertime.
Yeah. And it just takes having a little foresight. It's kind of like, I relate this to like traffic jams on the highway where inevitably you'll come upon a place, right? The one lane is closed. Okay. Now, when in smooth flowing traffic, people would see that, start to move in advance because you can see it fucking in the distance.
Or like if you can't see it, they probably put a sign that says road is closed on the left-hand road, like half a mile, a mile, half a mile, quarter of a mile, 5 feet. The motherfuckers can't.
No, they're like, this is what I want what I want, and I don't want to do it until the last possible minute. I don't give who else it fucks over. Oh, I have no more room. Now I will get over it. And everybody makes that same life choice. And
that's
then
how traffic jams happen.
It's an hour extra onto your commute.
Yeah.
Because people are assholes.
That's the root cause of all problems in the world are humans.
It really is. It really is.
Is Eve. It's Eve's fault.
So I don't know how we get to a place where people can have some more awareness and care about more than just their own personal kingdom. I feel like we learned this in kindergarten.
Yeah.
You learn how to share. You learn how to get the fuck out the way.
But here's the thing, and I'm going to say this very controversially, and I'll say it with a caveat.
Okay.
I don't care if you smoke weed.
Okay.
I don't care. But weed drastically takes away your ability to comprehend your surroundings. I know all you weed smokers out there think that doesn't happen and that
Right.
nobody in the world knows that you smoke weed. Fucking newsflash, everyone knows you smoke weed. No one they don't care.
Right.
Like people have been smoking weed longer than this country has existed. Quit acting like you're the first generation to discover weed.
Oh my God.
It's been there. Every bitch before you has put on bell bottoms the first time she smoked a joint, got a Jimi Hendrix poster, started listening to The Doors. It's all happened before. You're not the first person.
Yes.
But weed does drastically take away from your ability to understand your surroundings.
That's true. It definitely dulls the sense.
Yeah, and that's that
blurs the
extra sense you
edges.
need,
Yeah,
right?
blurs the
So
edges.
the more legalization of weed, the less the less people are gonna have awareness of their surroundings. I feel.
Wow. Okay.
Which
well,
smoke all the weed you want. I don't care. But no, I do know you're smoking weed. Quit pretending like nobody knows.
we smell it on you, Brenda.
Right. Look, Ethel, we know you're smoking weed for your glaucoma, and it's perfectly fine. Just get your fucking ass out of the way. Quit trying to pick the fucking right eggs. We know you're just going to pick the white ones anyway, you fucking white bitch. Just take them and get the fuck out the way.
Oh, shit. I love it.
That was fun.
That was really
I made the
good.
hard decision to pick on old white women
You
and call
did.
them a bitch.
You did. Next thing you know, I'm going to start calling you Sinead, because...
Look, we know that I conjured Sinead O'Connor. I conjured Sinead O'Connor. Sinead O'Connor, one of my favorite female artists ever. Have had a love affair with her for over 30 years. I get into these moods where I just have to like listen to her music, try to sing like Sinead O'Connor, which very few people can do. And then randomly she'll pop up out of obscurity and do something that offends the entire world.
Yep.
Which this was.
This week was her saying that she didn't want to have anything more to do with white people.
Which I get. Like, I can't say she's wrong. And I don't know if people know Sinead O'Connor's like history, and I don't want to get into her, business or anything, but she's categorically been, I don't know, stifled as a human being by her career, people doing her career, people around her, her family, her son even, just like constantly. I think if people were just like, that's Sinead, let's just let Sinead be Sinead and hate this one day, be a priest one day, be a lesbian. Just that's what Sinead does. Let's let her do it. I think she would be a better off as a person.
Yeah.
As most people would be. If they're just allowed to live their truth. But she, had men trying to tell her what to do with her life, and it took its toll on her.
Yeah.
So my heart goes out to Sinead O'Connor. I'll try to find my heart and send it out to you later. Anything else you got for hard choices?
Just to tell people, it's not the end of the world. If you have to do something that's basically a compromise, you will go on. Okay, your heart will go on.
Thank you.
As somebody
Celine.
who still feels that, I have one. I know you can't speak from that perspective.
No.
It's not hard. It's not hard to just care for others a little bit. Actually makes life better. Who knows? It actually might make life faster in
Yeah.
some ways when you're not just taking up space, breathing through your mouth.
Yep. I think the problem is it's this or that. If gay people can marry or if transgender people have rights, that takes something away from me, right? Even though it has nothing to do with me. and take a job that I would never even work.
Right. They've done.
They're taking my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the hard decision is shutting the fuck up and letting people have what they want, because you've already got what you want. That's the problem. The people who have what they want don't want anybody else to have what they want or have what they got.
Mm-hmm. There's not a limited number of people. We can all have.
We can all have everything. We can all have our hopes and dreams.
We could just realize that.
Yeah. And
we'd be good to go.
You know, stop reading statistic numbers that are completely outrageous. Just know that a person coming here is not going to murder you in your sleep because one immigrant person murdered somebody in 1 year.
Right.
When you got white people every week shooting up schools.
Well.
And for anybody in this country that's not Native American, you can fuck yourself on any thoughts you have about people coming to this country, because you don't belong here. Peace. Slán.
And remember that to be beautiful and natural is the birthright of every woman. And I wish you all loads and loads of loveliness and good luck.